All right, what's going on, everybody? So there's a lot of celebrity, influencer, political news right now where people are in uproar about comments, things they said, how to frame it. You got people talking up, you got people talking down, and a lot of controversy, and specifically around this topic of being politically correct and how to package and say certain things and what that implication is. And so I want to make some comments because for a lot of us that don't see it right now, we are in a war for the mind. We are in an information war. And God, what he wants to do is he wants to elevate us to the next level, to each their own in whatever aspect of life you are in. But you cannot be boxed in and influenced by the ways of the world. And so I'm not here right away to say that, Kanye West and Kyrie Irving and many other celebrities or athletes or influencers, they're equated to being godly and blah, blah, blah. I'm saying the pattern for which we are seeing in society right now is to move out, bust out, and elevate into an area for which people are speaking from a place where there's a lot of gaps. And in order to bridge that gap and to empathize, to understand the person, the framing of it, the messaging, you have to be aware contextually, you have to be aware culturally of what is going on, and specifically also from a godly perspective. And so I want to make some comments about this. Kyrie Irving right now, he's under a lot of heat for saying, or rather not apologizing for certain things that the NBA and many others want him to do, and people have given him an opportunity, and he stands by what he posted and tweeted, and specifically around this growing concern of anti-Semitism, right? And so Kanye West has been in that as well. And a lot of people, what they don't understand is that there's a deeper story behind all of that. And one of the comments that I read that got me to do this video is somebody saying, there is no room for any anti-Semitism. And the answer when somebody asks you if you are anti-Semitic is always a flat no, right? And so that begs the question of even videos I do. A lot of people gave me flack for talking about the war and being insensitive. A lot of people talked about the recent video of the Itaewon and saying, hey, you are being insensitive. Why are you talking about deeper things when there clearly are people that are mourning for this? Why, right? And what you have to understand is that there's a lot of people at different levels of maturity, different levels for which they can cope with and have a desire to want to assimilate and understand information. And the better we understand this divide and give room to the person giving the message, give empathy to the person receiving the message, and continually project and talk about things without having this fear of being politically correct, the further we can be as a body of Christ, as truth tellers, as a community or a society trying to wrestle with and talk about deeper issues. And so in order to wrestle through with this, I want to give one example as just a point of reference. When you ask a question like, hey, is killing somebody bad? Is murdering somebody bad? When you look at it just quickly at surface level, you would think, oh yeah, no, that's bad. You should not kill anybody ever, right? But again, there's depth behind what that means. There's something that you take at face value, and there are deeper levels of meaning behind something. And so to be able to say something politically correct and say, hey, yeah, killing is bad, murder is bad, none of that, right? But again, look at context. If you look in the Bible, in the Old Testament, God, he specifically said, hey, you need to obey my commandments and you have to obey my instructions. One of the instructions I gave to the Israelites is when you are conquering the promised land that is entitled to you, you have to utterly destroy some of the people there. And sometimes he ordered people to destroy all of the cattle, the animals, the women, children, everybody. He said, you must utterly cut them off. And when you look at that, you would be like, wait a minute. And again, you can read the Bible for yourself. Your reaction should be, oh, wait a minute. Why is God saying those things? But again, there's deeper context to that, right? And then of course, in other instances, one of the 10 commandments is you shall not murder, right? And so you look at that seemingly as a contradictory statement of, hey, is killing bad? Should you not kill? But God, he ordered the Israelites to do the very thing that he supposedly commanded you not to do in the 10 commandments. And so again, I'm not going to do a 30-minute video on this particular point, but what I'm saying is that there's a deeper level of discussion. There's a deeper level of context. There's a deeper level of understanding the culture and what is intended, what the motive behind it is, what the actual action is, and taking into consideration other factors that is besides the point. And for you to, or society to be able to sit there and say, hey, we have to be politically correct and say, hey, we should never murder, we should never kill and destroy, we should never have anti-Semitism, we should never have these issues, blah, blah, blah. You should be very sensitive about how to project and talk about spiritual issues with the Itaewon Halloween issue, with the war in the Ukraine and with Russia and all these different things. We should be very sensitive about those things. But what you're doing is you're stifling the ability to discuss at a deeper level the intricacies behind it and have this idea of, okay, what does it mean in this context? What does it mean culturally? What does it mean to have a deeper level of insight into what they are saying, what Kyrie Irving, what Kanye West, and many other influencers are talking about when they are stating certain things? And for a lot of people, because they operate at an immature level, and I don't say this in any offensive way, they operate at face value. They operate in a politically correct culture to which they say, hey, all of that is bad. It should be an emphatic no whenever somebody asks you about anti-Semitism. It should be an emphatic no when you talk about should you kill somebody. But there, again, is deeper context, there's deeper meaning behind something. And even for the Bible, even for this example of killing somebody, God, he seems like he's seemingly contradicting himself, but he wasn't, right? And again, it requires a deeper level of insight, revelation, knowledge, and wisdom to fully comprehend that. It requires a deeper level of insight to be able to comprehend why somebody would say nothing when asked, hey, are you anti-Semitism? Or are you going to renounce what you're saying? Because there's more than meets the eye. And for society, for the body of Christ, we have to be able to stop with this immature level of, hey, we should always be on thin ice and be politically correct. We should always have a neutral answer. We should always water it down. We should always dilute things. But rather, in order to elevate, to mature to the next level, there are things that you have to consider as you break down certain issues, as you break down what people are saying. And in this time, God is raising up people to be examples, to speak out and say, hey, we've always had the messaging and the narrative to be this way, but I want to tell you about something else. I want to tell you about something deeper, something with more substance. And for you to be able to wrestle with that substance, with that deeper issue, then you can move to the next level. Then you can see and gain greater insight, greater revelation to empathizing, to understanding the context behind it. And if we don't do these things, and if we don't set examples, and we don't have people, men and women of God, to be able to step up to that, then we're not going to get to the next level. And so this is what is happening right now. You got influencers, politicians, you got celebrities, you got many, many people stepping up and saying, hey, I don't want to sound politically correct. There's deeper levels of insight to understand in the topic at hand. And so this is why a lot of people are sensitive, they're hurt, they're not able to see the bigger picture. We need to get to a place where we are not sugarcoating something. We're not saying something in a dumbed down way, a diluted way. And again, this is not to say you should just go up to somebody and just say whatever, right? You need to read the room. You have to discern and understand a person's situation. If they're going through some tough time, if they lost somebody, that's not the time and place to go and analyze the whole situation from a 10,000 foot view, right? So you need to have that discernment, but at the same time, to get to the next level, beyond the surface level, you have to be able to step up. And even if people don't understand, even if people don't really get it, eventually they may come around. Eventually they may understand. But for many of the people that are already open, they're mature, and they're able to discern, they will receive it. Even Jesus, when he preached in parables, when he preached certain messages, for some people, they got it. Some people, it took some time. For other people, they rejected it. And so for you to sit there and say, hey, I just want this message to be accepted by as many people as possible. I want this to be politically correct. That, for you, you are harming yourself in some sense for how you're going to impact the world. And so I'm saying this for your community, for your family, for whatever sphere of influence you have, to carefully consider what it is that's happening, to be more open-minded on the continuing war that's happening, and to be in a place where you can empathize and you can see from a deeper level of insight. So God bless you guys. I want to encourage you guys with this. I love you guys. Talk to you guys very soon.